posed to us many times, because it is worthy of your attention. Yes, because you are living in the human body in the experience of the third dimensional world as you see it, and you are often affected by things in the physical reality. So we are not trying to ask you to be dissociated from your reality. We are saying to you, add to the pot where you can, make the difference if the challenge is there for you, if you feel the call to that. If we have spoken many times about this connection to the idea of chemtrails and or your food supply. We have spoken about that many times, and we would say to you that these environmental ways, yes, it's a call. It's a call to change. It is a call to make a direct action if that is what your desire is. But we will say there are 7 billion of you, or almost close to, well, not quite, but there's many billions of you on this planet, and there will be always people who will take that charge. Do you personally, and we are not just speaking to you, but we're speaking to the collective you, do you collectively have the desire within you to make that charge? Well, one thing we often use as our beloved channel as the example. Not that she loves that, but we will use her anyway. And she had become very aware of chemtrails, and then she was talking about it a lot, and then people would not believe her, and then people would act like she was crazy, and then she was annoyed that people wouldn't believe her, and then she had to go through a big process, you could say, about all of that. And ultimately, she will speak up and talk about it if she feels to. She will also not engage if she doesn't feel to. The whole thing about that is you come to what works for you, and the energy that you put out towards that is either adding to the pot of the solutions. And this, what we mean by that is the more people wake up to things, ultimately, in time, there comes change. So when we say to you all that, yes, there is pollution in your worldly experience, and this earth, Gaia, as being poisoned, and most definitely there is toxicity here. You are doing it to yourself as you do it to her. Does that mean that what is happening is, quote, wrong? No, it is meaning that it is here to get your attention. There is something within that inherently to wake you all up to. Does it mean you will all meet your demise by way of chemtrails or the toxic food or anything? No, but it does mean that there will be some who do. Is this a part of the collective waking? It is. So everything adds to the pot of the collective waking up. This is the way that you will get your own attention. All these factors, all of these things. So as a personal person, you can make choices the best you can. That is what we would also say. You enlighten and awaken, and also you make the best choices you can make. If you are residing in an area where there is so much toxicity and you are having constant asthma, or you are feeling the effects and you go somewhere else, you literally find a place where you move to, or you go visit, or something like that, where there is less of that toxicity in the air and your asthma lessens, well, then there's a very big clue how to take care of yourself individually. Can you solve the whole problem for the people who are in the city where you were just there was so much pollution? Not necessarily, but you can take care of yourself, and then you can do your very best to enlighten and help others if that is your charge, if that is your call. We have to say this because you each have your own participation in the unified whole, but you also have to take care of this beingness that you are, this self that you are, in order to continue the expansion of the growth that you want, the light that you want, the consciousness that you want to have this earth be, this experience in the third dimension. No, you are not here in a vacuum by yourself. But the more that you do the things that you can for this evolution of the soul, actually you add that to that collective frequency that we spoke of, which is a resonation that you're desiring, which is the changing of this planet, which is the changing of the consciousness. We do see so many technologies that are being born out of this pain that the earth is experiencing. We do see so many technologies or how should we say that? How should we say that? Ideas that are being brought in, that are connecting to, for the solutions to what you have all created in your sleep state. And in effect, it's not to say, well, some of our friends would say this, but Osairah, I never added to this pot of toxic food. And we say, well, maybe not in this lifetime. And maybe you're here in this lifetime to wake up to it. And you will start something that will be ignition to something that can change people's awakening around what you would call the GMOs, or what you would call the toxic soil, et cetera, or how it is that you farm on this planet, or how it is that you are polluting your rivers. These things are an important piece of the collective whole. How you take charge of your own health, your well-being, adds to that whole. That's where it must start first. Then you all make connections to a broader network to raise the vibration. But you cannot do it from the place of being sick and blaming others. You can only do it from the place where you stand up and take your sovereignty and say, I have to find a way to heal myself, my body, so that I can help heal the body of this earth and the people in it by raising my consciousness, which can raise the other's consciousness. We would also say that if you are feeling a victim to these things outside yourself, the chemtrails, the environment at large, the earth, etc., that is where you must start first. If that is a person's construct, oh, I'm just a victim. We have no power here. With the chemtrails, we have no power with the environment of the polluting of the rivers. Right there is where the very first charge is. It's in the idea of victimhood. And we always talk so much about victimhood because it is another place where this is the distraction piece. It's a very heavy laden vibration on your planet. And so that is one of the first steps of awakening, you could say, is recognizing that even if you feel that you are in a place or a condition, that means you have no power. So you feel that you are a victim in that position with maybe, say, the food. Well, Osairah, I cannot afford something that is not not GMO foods. We're just using that as an example. Then we would say, do your very best, but find a way out of being in the victim mentality of that. Bless your food. See if you can, what we'd say, pot. How do you call this? Grow your own food. Do the actions that make you feel less like a victim. You are such ingenious. Ingenuity is one of your characteristics in being human on this planet. There are so many ways, so many options, so many routes, so many viable ways for you to create, for you to take some charge in your own life about your ideas around the victimhood that you are carrying in relationship to things outside yourself. Even if we will go back to that idea of, even if we are recognizing on your planet there are people who have not clean drinking water and the difficulty with that. So there are, with people, a choice within the soul life that you've come to live on this planet. You come for your soul's advancement. And some of these souls that you see are not actually victims. And we say not some, but all the victim ideas is not really true. You come for the expansion and consciousness. And so there is not clean water in certain places. And we recognize that is because the world is not paying attention to all beings on this planet. And you have segregated and you have drawn lines in the sand and said you're not one. And there also is another charge for the growth of the soul. Soul knows that you are all one. And that is what is burning to come up to the surface and wake each other up, to not have the lines of delineation of power and control and keeping people in lines, drawing lines in the sand and saying, on this side of this earth, right here, this silly invisible line, this line we will paint down This sand right here means over here you have no clean water, but over here, yes, we'll give you some clean water. That is silly, and you all know it. The connection is you keep playing that game in unconsciousness. You will wake yourselves up through the charge of being human in a planet that says we must collectively unify to know that we are all one. That when one of us suffers, we all suffer. When one of us is in victimhood, powerlessness, we ultimately all are. So there are many of you who are knowing this to be true, but in your individual lives, you have to take your own charge with that. Remember, you are not a victim, and create some form and new way for you to step out in an empowerment within yourself and add that to the collective pot. We hope that helps.